Hi, I'm Daniel Roberts, and you are listening to the Giving Town podcast, where we share stories of hope and generosity in our wonderful community of Newburgh, Oregon, and the surrounding area. This podcast is sponsored by my real estate team, the Driftwell Roberts Group, and we are licensed real estate brokers with Premier Property Group, LLC. We're passionate about serving our clients well and educating people about the many aspects of real estate. So if that's something you're interested in, you can check out our YouTube channel, which is linked in the description below. So today, I'm going to be taking a little bit different direction. So typically, I have someone on the podcast and I interview them and talk about the ways that they have given back to the community or served the community. But today, I'm going to be doing an episode where it's just me talking. So you're welcome. So the reason I called this podcast The Giving Town, and I talked about this in a previous episode, but I'll just say it again. The point is to share stories of hope and generosity. And these aren't just stories of people who give a lot of money, but about people who give themselves to serve our town, for people who are dedicated to making this town a better place. And my hope is that listening to this, you can be inspired by hearing these stories and become more generous of yourself, of your money, of your time as well. But today I'm going to talk about something that is maybe going to challenge some of your thoughts, and you can disagree with it or you can agree with it. But I want to present an idea to you that my hope is will help you become a more generous person and to actually enjoy doing so. The thing is, being generous is not just about money. It's not just about giving. Like I said, it's sometimes people just need a smile. Sometimes people need a word of encouragement. Maybe sometimes people just need a hug. The point is, when we can live our lives in service to others, which is the old Rotary saying, service above self, there's actually this deep sense of joy that comes from that. And that's what I want for you. I want you to experience the joy and the sense of satisfaction that comes from living your life for others. There's an ancient quote by Socrates. You might have heard of him, but he had the quote, "Be kind, for everyone you know is fighting a hard battle." When we go into life knowing that everyone has their struggles and we can do something to help people, even if it's just by being kind, then we're making the world a better place and we're making Newburgh a better place. So what I want to talk about today is that giving is actually self-motivated. Most of the time, people think of this term altruism, that giving and generosity has to be something you do just because it's the right thing to do. And that's what I'm going to challenge today. I want to share a story about Abraham Lincoln about this concept. So one day, Lincoln was traveling in his coach wagon along a swampy rural area, and his fellow passenger was a U.S. Senator, Edward Baker. And while they were talking, Lincoln remarked to Baker that in doing good and evil, people are all motivated by selfishness. And just as Baker was challenging this assertion, their coach crossed a rickety bridge over a swampy marsh. And as they were crossing, Lincoln and Baker saw a mother pig making this really loud squealing sound because her piglets were stuck in the swamp and they couldn't get out, and they were most likely going to drown. So as they were crossing, Lincoln said, "Driver, can you stop a moment?" And the driver said, "Sure." And so they stopped, and then Lincoln got out of the wagon and ran over to the swamp and pulled the pigs out of the swamp one by one. So he carried them to the dry bank, and then off they ran. So as Lincoln got into the coach, Baker said, "Wow, that was extremely selfless of you. I can't believe you got your suit all muddy just to save those pigs." And he said, "That wasn't selfless at all. That was the very essence of selfishness. I would have had no peace of mind if I had gone on and left those pigs to die. I did it to get peace of mind." Now, this story has taken many different forms over the years, and there's a chance that this might not be exactly how this played out. But the point is that we do things and we take actions that would seem to be at our loss or that our detriment, but we're actually doing it for our own peace of mind, for our own satisfaction, and for our own joy. There are many quotes, many proverbs, many things that actually support this idea. Mahatma Gandhi said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." Jesus of Nazareth said, "It's more blessed to give than to receive." And there's another proverb that says, "One person gives freely, yet gains even more, and another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty." Also, a generous person will prosper, and whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. So there's this idea that giving actually isn't just about the other person. And of course, it is about the other person, but it's also about ourselves. So my background is in engineering. I really like data, I like facts, I like science, and everything I do, I try to, as much as I can, back it up with science. So there's a book I read not too long ago called Happy Money, The Science of Smarter Spending. So this was written by Elizabeth Dunn and Michael Norton, who are psychologist researchers who both have their background at Harvard. So they did this study about giving and trying to figure out if it's actually measurable that giving things away had an effect on happiness more than doing things for ourselves. So I want to talk about one of the studies that they did. In this book, they share about how they set up this study where people were randomly given either $5 or $20, and some were told to spend the money however they wanted, and some were told specifically how to spend it, and some were told to specifically spend it on someone else, whether a donation or a charity or as a gift for someone else. I want to read what happened here. And by the way, this is on page 108 of the book if you're interested in reading it. So how did these purchases affect people? By the end of the day, individuals who spent money on others were measurably happier than those who spent money on themselves, even though there were no differences between the groups at the beginning of the day. And it turns out that the amount of money people found in their envelopes, whether $5 or $20, had no effect on their happiness at the end of the day. How people spent the money mattered much more than how much of it they got. This experiment suggests that spending as little as $5 to help someone else can increase your own happiness. In another study that was a representative sample of more than 600 Americans showed that personal spending accounted for the lion's share of most people's budgets. In the average ratio of personal to pro-social spending, and by the way, pro-social spending is what they refer to as spending money on someone else. So the average ratio of personal to pro-social spending was more than 10 to 1, meaning that people spent 10 times as much money on themselves than they did on other people. But the amount of money individuals devoted to themselves was unrelated to their overall happiness. So what did predict happiness? The amount of money they gave away. The more they invested in others, the happier they were. This relationship between pro-social spending and happiness held up even after taking into account individuals' income. Amazingly, the effect of this single spending category was as large as the effect of income in predicting happiness. So if you've been focusing on trying to make more money, remember that giving some of it away can be just as rewarding as getting more of it. What's interesting about this is that most people are actually afraid of giving money away because they feel that if they give money away that they're not going to have enough of it. And in some cases, this may be true. I'm not saying that you should actually give all of your money away. In fact, I spent several years of my life probably giving away too much money, and I had to realize that I needed to scale back and focus on my own family because I do believe that generosity starts at home. I didn't always used to believe that. I always thought that generosity and giving was something that you had to do basically to the detriment of yourself, but I realized that's actually not the case. So in no way am I saying that you need to have your family be poor and give all of your money away so that you have nothing. That's not what I'm saying at all. The point I'm trying to make is that we've been taught our whole lives that giving money away or being generous or volunteering or whatever it is are things we should do because they're the right thing to do, not because they make us happier. But the thing is that these things are the right thing to do, but doing the right thing isn't what motivates people. People are motivated by a sense of fulfillment, by a sense of satisfaction from doing the right thing, or avoiding judgment from not doing the right thing. People are motivated at an emotional level. So this idea of altruism basically says that if you're doing something, you can't get any satisfaction or joy from it. And it's actually taking away the good from doing good things. And there was a point where I actually tried to do this. I said, I want to do the right thing just because it's the right thing to do. And so I try to do things, but like take away any sense of good feeling or joy or satisfaction from it. And it wasn't fun at all. And it honestly didn't make me want to do things because I was basically, anytime I'd get a good feeling, I'd try to like squash that good feeling. So I can say, no, I want to make sure I'm doing this just for because it's the right thing to do, not because it gives me any sense of joy. And we have this idea that if we're doing it for our own motivation, that it's selfish. But I want to read a definition of selfishness to you from the dictionary. So this is Merriam-Webster's definition of selfish. So number one, selfish is defined as being concerned excessively or exclusively with oneself, seeking or concentrating on one's own advantage, pleasure, or well-being without regard for others. So that's the first one. Number two is arising from concern with one's own welfare or advantage in disregard of others. So here's the thing. Selfish is defined by the dictionary as seeking your own good, but at the expense of others. But there's another kind of self-interest that is concerned with your own welfare, that is concerned with yourself, but at the benefit of someone else, not at their expense. And this is the kind of selfishness I'm talking about that's really good. I'm not talking about taking advantage of others, but in fact, actually increasing our own sense of joy, our own satisfaction, and our own peace, specifically by helping others. And this is the thing. If we're consistently going around and seeing people who are doing great things and say, well, they must just be great people because they're doing it because it's the right thing. When we take a deeper look, people who spend their lives dedicated to serving others are actually doing it because they found that's the greatest sense of joy they can get. They're not doing it because they're actually giving up joy. They're saying, wow, I found that above everything else that I could possibly be doing. Spending my life helping others actually makes me the most joyful. It makes me the most happy. And it just gives us the deepest sense of peace. And this is what I want for you. I want you to recognize that you don't have to feel like you're doing the right thing, or that if you give or if you do the right thing for someone, or that if you give to someone, whatever it might be, that you're actually giving up anything. In fact, you're actually gaining something. So anyway, I hope this message is encouraging to you. I hope it inspires you to actually do good and to recognize that you can pursue your own happiness while doing good for other people. And in fact, just like Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So I hope that as you go throughout this next week, as you go throughout this next day even, that you find a way to serve someone not just for their benefit, but also for your own good. And experiment with this. Try doing something like paying for someone's groceries in the line in front of you or behind you. Pay for someone's gas bill. Stop and say hello to someone on the side of the street or smile at someone. And I think you'll notice that that's the thing from the day that'll stick with you. And you'll find of all the things that that's actually what brought you the greatest sense of joy and satisfaction. We tend to get so caught up with trying to get more business, with going about our lives, and we're trying to reach some goal that is completely detached from our own sense of well-being and happiness. But when we can stop and actually do something for others with the idea that that's actually what's going to give us the sense of joy and satisfaction and peace that we're looking for, it helps us see more opportunities like that. And when you do that for someone else, it then makes them more likely to do it for someone else in the future. And that's what it's going to take, in my mind, to continue to improve the culture of our town. Every single good thing we do for someone else means it's more likely that they're going to do good for someone else as well. Well, I hope this episode has been encouraging to you. And if it has been encouraging and valuable, and you think of someone who might benefit from hearing this, I'd ask that you just share this message. Just send them a text message or shoot them an email with this episode in it. If you have any questions or want to hear more content like this, if this has been something you enjoyed, please reach out to me and let me know, and I would be happy to do more episodes like this. Well, thank you so much, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.